That's right, baby! I've been wanting to move them up for a while now, but I couldn't justify it until they finally made it happen this week. I am so excited. Welcome to the jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and yo, we got some movement this week. Seriously, guys, I finally get to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I couldn't justify until this week. Teased it a little bit at the top of the episode. What exactly is that? Well, you're just gonna have to wait to find out. But before we get into all the rankings and everything, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It really helps my channel out, and it helps you know when I drop all of my content. So here's the bottom 3 categories for your reference. As always, I don't want to spend too much time here because, quite frankly, who cares? But I will highlight a few teams like the Denver Broncos, who I want to emphasize are not tanking, obviously. Why would you do that when you don't even have your first round draft pick? But Nathaniel Hackett is fired now, and they definitely look like they're tanking with how bad they are. Then there's the LA Rams, who are eliminated and they're done, but hey, maybe they found their Matt Stafford replacement in Baker Mayfield. As long as he doesn't keep up his winning streak over the Bengals in LA, I'm happy for him personally. I think it's great. And then there's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 7-8, they in no way, shape, or form deserve to be in the playoff picture. At least as far as like teams that are like in the playoffs. But they currently lead the NFC South, which both South divisions are just an abomination this year. But the power rankings don't always reflect the actual standings, so I've just got them in playoff hunt right now. Alright, so let's leave those teams where they belong and move on to the playoff hopefuls. The Jets and Lions are both still alive in the playoff race, but, you know, after last week, forgive me if I'm a little bit skeptical on both teams right now. At number 14, for the first time since week 6, we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers. There's a reason it took me so long to knock them out of the playoff race on these rankings, guys. This is a talented team with a solid head coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback. At number 13, I've got the Washington Commanders. Both of these teams can't make the playoffs, but out of the two, I'd still probably put my money on Washington. They've had a bit of a rough run lately, losing 2 of their last 3, and the other one was a tie. But don't forget, they won 6 of their last 7 games before that. With the Browns next week and a Cowboys team that may have nothing left to play for in Week 18, I'd be surprised if they continued tanking their season and missed the playoffs entirely. At number 12, I've got the Miami Dolphins. Tua, chill the hell out, bruh. With all the concussion problems he's had this year, he should really sit out the rest of the season, which would probably tank the Dolphins' playoff chances, right? And for that reason, he's probably not going to do it, even though he absolutely should. But finally, at number 11, you've got the recently clinched Los Angeles Chargers. I don't entirely believe in them, but they did what it took to make the playoffs, and now they can basically take the next 2 weeks to rest before figuring out who they play in the wildcard round. Next up, we're talking about the contenders. At number 10, it's... Hold on a minute. Is that the Jacksonville Jaguars? That's right, baby. I've been wanting to move them up for a while now, but I couldn't justify it until they finally made it happen this week. I am so excited. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, largely on the shoulders of Trevor Lawrence's recent emergence. They're in control of the AFC South now, and they can pretty much take next week off because that Week 18 matchup with the Tennessee Titans will determine the winner of the division no matter what happens. Like I said, the power rankings aren't just about the standings. It's a lot about what you've done lately. So that's why this 7-8 team is in the top 10 right now. Number 9, I've got the New York Giants. The Vikings are a really good football team, so there's no shame in losing to them this week, I don't think. But the only team they've beaten since Week 9 is the Washington Commanders. And even then, they only won 1 of those 2 games. So I'm just a little skeptical right now, especially with all those injuries. Number 8, I've got the Baltimore Ravens, who recently lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So maybe... No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'd love to, but at the end of the day, I've got to give the Ravens some respect. They have probably had the softest schedule in the NFL since Week 7. But they've been doing their bit winning without Lamar Jackson, which is huge, I think. So until proven otherwise, you do have to watch out for them. Number 7, I've got the Minnesota Vikings. They keep winning, and Tom Grassi keeps dying a little bit inside every single time, which I get, by the way. It kind of reminds me of the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers, which mentally destroyed me at the time. Seriously, go back and watch those old episodes of the Battle of Ohio podcast.
Well, they're 11-0 against a bunch of bullshit. Let's be honest. Like, what good win have...
You know, that 11-0 team that didn't deserve it and finally got exposed. The difference is the Vikings haven't really been fully exposed yet. Like, you thought it happened when they got blasted by the Cowboys a few weeks back, but then they just got right back to winning. So, I guess they can't have been too exposed. Speaking of which, number 6, I've got the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sure I'm going to hear all about this one because they beat the best team in the NFL and they're not Super Bowl caliber team, blah, 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 blah. I get it, but that amazing defense I keep hearing about gave up nearly 400 yards to Gardner Minshew, guys. Y'all beat the Eagles, but you did it without the current frontrunner for the MVP race. So, I'm like, congratulations, I gave you a boost. But I'm not, like, it's just like, you won. But, you know, I'm not totally sold just yet. So let's go ahead and move on to the Super Bowl caliber teams. You know they're all Super Bowl caliber because this category hasn't moved an inch from last week. Why? Well, allow me to explain. At number 5, we've got the San Francisco 49ers. They did a great job beating up on a collapsing Washington Commanders team, which is cool and all. And Brock Purdy looks legit right now, so they probably deserve to be a little bit higher. But my number 4 team is the Buffalo Bills. Sure, it looked for a minute like they were going to fall after struggling with the Chicago Bears early in that game, and then the second half happened. Jeez. Josh Allen, we are not worthy. We are not worthy. Well, except for the Kansas City Chiefs, who got their recent struggles off their backs this week. They didn't struggle much with the collapsing Seattle Seahawks, so gold star! Then there's the number 2 Cincinnati Bengals. They've now won 7 straight. The last 2 have been nail-biters. They had a 17-point comeback over the Bucs and nearly had a 22-point collapse against the Patriots. But winning is winning, and that's all that matters in the NFL. Finally, I'm keeping the Philadelphia Eagles at number 1, even though they lost, because they nearly beat the Dallas Cowboys with a backup quarterback this week. They'll be getting Jalen Hurts back eventually, definitely for the playoffs, if not next week, so I see no reason to knock them this week. So once again, here's the whole list, everyone. Like I said, I'm sure I'm going to hear all about a few of the rankings I made this week, and I hope you all tell me all about what you think in the comments below. As always, I'll feature the best ones in my next video, like this one from Alfred Washington, who said, "You think the Bengals are better than Kansas City?" Yes, I actually do, Alfred. They beat Kansas City for the 3rd time in a row a few weeks ago, and the Chiefs, at the time, had been recently struggling with the Texans and Broncos. So, yeah, I do think the Bengals are better than the Chiefs, actually. But I appreciate you commenting, Alfred. That's all I've got for the rankings this week, y'all. I look forward to hearing what you all think and seeing what crazy shit happens next week. Until then, y'all can always catch more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, ATBNetwork.com, Butt Fumble Sports, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. We're almost to the playoffs, and I think this year is going to be a great spectacle. Until then, I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!